Schools are on holiday break, and if you're a high school basketball fan, it's one of the best times of the season. One of the many games taking place this weekend is at Como Park High School, where the 4-3 Como Park Cougars, one of the top 10 teams in Class 3A, host the Madison East Purgolders. Madison East at 4-5, but the last time they paid a visit, they got out of here with a win. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Peden, joined by Olivia Antilla. As you can see, a Florida A&M graduate. Olivia, you followed this Como Park team closely all season. You coach at least one of them in the AAU circuit, in Cloey Dmytruk. 4-3, all their losses to 4A schools, but they're small, scrappy, and real tough to contain defensively.
And that is why they will be so successful this season at 3A. Due to their size, their speed, and their athleticism, and their will to get after it, it's hard for teams to keep up with them. And so that's what we'll be looking today, and some of the keys that they'll need in order to come away with the win today.
A lot of names to keep an eye on. KK Asberry and Ronnie Porter off to strong starts this season. Jada James a little slow out of the gate. She can get after it as far as rebounds are concerned. For this team, Alexis Gray-Lawson told me a lot of talent. They got to work on finishing, especially in the second half.
Exactly, and so sometimes you'll see Como Park comes out flat in the second half due to leads or just due to lack of team chemistry, and so that will be another key for them this game, is to make sure they play a full 40 minutes, whether they are coming off the bench or are a starter in this game.
For Madison East, not a lot is known about them. A couple of top scorers are Kalina Bentley and Alana Harvey-Williams. It's always fun, though, when a team outside of Minnesota comes over here to play.
It is, because you get a chance to play different teams, new girls, and maybe see some different types of competition that you may not be able to see during the regular high school season.
Well, we're always happy to have an out-of-state school pay a visit. Stick around, the tip-off is coming up.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
James, she's in trouble. Finds James, toss shot, it goes in!
And everything in between. Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Senior point guard
Mike Peden and Olivia Antilla back with you at Como Park High School. Olivia, this is a gym you have visited often this season, as I understand it.
I have. I'm friends with the head coach, but also I have multiple players on this Como team for my AAU team.
How did you and Alexis cross paths?
Through 43 hoops, oddly enough, and just being in the basketball community and being very like-minded about basketball, we just became friends.
head coach for
Madison East, as we noted, a lot of history. Aaron Brown now playing at Auburn. I remember the last time they came here, they got the win over Como Park. As we've seen when out-of-state teams come to play, there is a lot of talent. Saw that over Thanksgiving with schools like Dowling Catholic and La Crosse Aquinas. Aquinas actually playing 4 Minnesota teams this season. They'll play Hopkins in January along with Minnehaha Academy. And Como Park, they got moved to Section 3A, which gives them a more favorable group as far as getting to state because they no longer have to worry about De La Salle.
Right. But like we've iterated every game, you just never know who will show up or what may happen with each team. I think this is a win that Como Park needs coming off of that loss against 4A Wayzata to finish out the holiday break.
Here's a look at the starting five. For Madison East, it's Zoe Meyer, number 2. Kalina Bentley, number 5. Nasia Hicks, number 23. Nevaeh Boston, number 33, and Alana Harvey-Williams, number 42. Como Park will start Ronnie Porter, number 1, Jalen Smith, number 5, KK Asberry, number 24, Cloey Dmytruk, number 25, and Jada James, number 42. The Cougars have lost 2 straight. They had 2 weeks in between games. Some of the teams they had scheduled initially have dropped out, so Alexis Gray-Lawson is hoping that if anyone is looking to fill up a date later in the season, they'll add Como Park. And she wants to do so, but doesn't want to schedule the cupcake games that would be 30, 40-point runaway wins.
Right.
Madison East, the first of 2 games. They will head to St. Paul Central tomorrow to wrap up their Twin Cities swing. They're wearing the white with the purple and gold trim, and they're off and running. Novaya Boston scores. I will say, Olivia, it's real brave of Madison East to come up here into Minnesota with purple and gold as their school colors.
Right? Like, those are our colors for the Vikings fans out there.
And in case you're wondering, the folks at Madison East who do follow the NFL, they are Packers fans.
100%.
Well, they are from Wisconsin. That's to be expected.
Another key for Como is going to be to not get tentative with just dribbling the ball around and actually creating ball movement, because Ronnie and KK are such good dribblers. Sometimes teammates get stagnant of just watching, and so that's one thing that they should do. They have done a good job of getting other teammates involved, where Cloey Dmytruk has led in scoring 1 game. Shakila Walker, who comes off the bench, led them the first game, but that's why they're so hard to guard.
Offensive foul was called on Madison East. Porter to Dmytruk for 3.
And that's what she does. You cannot leave her open at the three-point line.
And I bet you taught her that at 43 hoops.
She came to me with that. We're just trying to make it unstoppable now.
She picks up the steal there after Madison East got into a jam. KK Asberry, count it. She'll have a chance at 3.
Basket by Asberry is good. Going to the line for the and foul on number 2, Meyer.
KK Asberry, one of the double-digit scores for the Cougars. Completes a 3-point play. Averaging 15 points per game this season. Several of the season highs for Como Park came against the overtime affair with St. Louis Park.
Which was a very good game.
Kalina Bentley knocks down the mid-range J.
And we're seeing both of these teams play very similar, pressing the whole game, want to get after it and run so far.
Ball possession stays with Como.
Dmytruk has it, finds Ronnie Porter. Dmytruk blocked, and the Purgolders will get a transition play out of it. Nasia Hicks scores, and we're tied at 6. Now, there is one difference between the two schools. No shot clock here in Minnesota. In Wisconsin, they put that in this season. They both play halves, so I don't know if it would have come into play anyway, the way these two teams are.
Right, as fast as they're playing, I don't think the shot clock ever affected Madison East.
That will be a foul, and free throws coming, I believe, for Ronnie Porter.
Foul is called on Madison East, number 33, Boston. Ronnie Porter at the line for the Cougars, shooting 2.
Ronnie Porter, I've noticed she's got a set of black and white shoes.
Those are those LeBrons.
And Ronnie Porter, a solid basketball player. Her nickname is Peanut, and get this, she wants to try golf.
Oh, wow. I mean, why not? Definitely not my cup of tea, but for people who like relaxation and such.
James with the steal. KK Asberry mishandled the pass. Jalen Smith is there, and Como Park recovers to get the transition play. 9-6 our score in favor of Como Park. Como Park, they've won the St. Paul City Conference for the last 5 seasons. Going back to the years of Andrea Adams. They're on the run again. Ronnie Porter's short.
But that is the one thing of why Como is as effective as they are, is almost all of their players can get the rebound and go, which means they have their primary point guard, which is Ronnie Porter, is already up, down, ready for the layup.
Ronnie's older brother played for St. Paul Central. Graduated last year. Ronnie Porter tried to feed it inside to Michaela Holton through traffic, and that will be a traveling call on Natalia Hillard.
And that's how you do it as a guard. When a mistake happens, you turn around and you get it right back.
That's a walk. Ronnie Porter lost her footing, and that was Alana Harvey-Williams who got in there with the deflection from behind.
It's really actually exciting so far to see a team that plays the same way as Como, that is as skilled as them, and as effective defensively.
High-low play.
Good play by
Zoe
Madison
Meyer.
East.
Como Park wastes little time attacking on the other end.
Good take by Shakyla Walker, and again, that is what Como Park will do. They want to run the whole entire game.
Zoe Meyer scores. Well, Madison East, they like to run too.
Exactly, and they're just not going away.
11-10 in favor of the Cougars. Foul before the shot.
Foul on number 33, Boston.
And you also see Como go to the smaller lineup with Jada going to the bench, where number 4, Michaela Holton, will play the 5 for them.
And Walker would like that pass back.
Right. Right idea, just wrong execution.
Purgolders, whoa, look out. That pass almost ran into the cheerleader's head. And that went underneath the legs of Hillard. So the Cougars have a chance. 3-ball from the corner. Ronnie Porter, pure. Como Park in 3A, one of the highest scoring teams in the class last season. Jalen Smith with the steal. Can she complete the run out? No. Ronnie Porter, well, that's a walk. Technically, that is a travel, so that counts as a turnover, but you're not going to fault Ronnie Porter for that.
Not at all.
Just lost her balance. That's a turnover.
You can pretend to live with.
Pretend. Well, you're getting after the O board, and sometimes you lose your balance.
Right.
Things happen. So, and a foul before the inbound. Now, we don't have pro rules, so no free throws for Madison East.
No.
On the line, oh.
And that tends to happen when you play as fast as you do. You get more travels called throughout the game.
That was Kyla McCullers, and she shuffled her feet. That's one of those unforced errors you don't want to see. Ronnie Porter drives off the mark. O board to Michaela Holton. 3-ball, bullseye. Shakyla Walker scores. And a steal by Walker. Ronnie Porter regains control. Out to Walker. Speeds down the lane. Strip from behind, and that will be Madison East ball following the timeout.
Taken by Madison East.
Como Park with a 17-10 lead, 12:38 to go in the first half.
I wouldn't be surprised if this game has a lot of runs because of how fast both teams play and how aggressively they are defensively. I can guarantee you Madison East will make another run before the end of this first half.
One absence for the Cougars is Shania Nichols-Van Nett, tore her ACL last spring and will not play this year. So that takes away a perimeter option.
Yes.
Number 3, Demaya Riley, has been in for the Cougars.
And she could potentially be back for section play, just depending on how well she feels by that time and if she is actually, if the coaches feel she is 100% needed for that.
That will be a foul on Michaela Holton, and free throws coming for Kalina Bentley.
Very aggressive play by the guard.
Holton. Kalina Bentley at the line for Madison East, shooting 2.
Bentley averaging 15.5 points per game, season high 21. And the cheerleaders trying to distract her a little bit. Bentley splits at the line. Walker for 3, that's no good. Rebound. Demaya Riley with a couple of chances at it, and she'll shoot 2.
Demaya Riley draws the foul.
It's surprising how, I know Como Park is extremely athletic, but Madison East by size is bigger than them. So it's good that Como is getting as many offensive rebounds as they are.
Riley averaging 6.2 a game. 2.6 rebounds. Knocks down both. This Cougars team, they've been building it up with their young guns. Folks wondered if some lean times were ahead after Andre Adams graduated, and only 2 seniors, neither of which play significant minutes. So this Como Park team, well, they had their best record as far as the regular season goes last year. Lost in the section semifinal to De La Salle. This year, Simbly and St. Croix Lutheran would be the teams they'd have to watch out for.
And that's why Como will be a team to watch for the next few years, being that their top scorers and all of their starters are of the sophomore class right now.
And they all got varsity time starting in 8th grade. And Shania Nichols joined the team as a 7th grader. So plenty of experience with this young group, and free throws coming for Nasia Hicks.
Foul is called on Como's number 1, Ronnie Porter. Nasia Hicks at the line from Madison East, shooting 2.
Nasia Hicks averaging 11.1 points per game. Season high 23.
James back in.
The Purgolders had a 3-game winning streak snap coming into this game, beating Milwaukee Marshall, Beloit Memorial, and Janesville Parker. They lost to Janesville Craig on December 19th. Playing Como Park and Central. The Central game figures to be a winnable one for the Purgolders. And Como Park, well, we'll see. Hicks splits at the line. 19-12 is the score. Jada James. Too strong. Rebound. Kyla McCullers.
And Madison East just looking to run the ball.
And free throws will be coming for number 35. Denai Mitchell, I believe is how you pronounce it.
Foul on Riley, number 3. Fideli will go to the line for Madison East with 2 shots.
And they're making it count at the free throw, so as aggressively they are being on the offensive end. With the fouls, they're making the free throws count, which is right now keeping them in the game.
That was Mary Fideli. Again, we're doing our best to get names and numbers right for Madison East. Como Park, 3 is off the mark. Shakila Walker tracks down her own miss.
And then turns it right over.
Alana Harvey-Williams scores. And who is number 13? Not listed in the program. Ronnie Porter weaves through the hole. What a beauty. Well, we'll figure out who number 13 is by halftime for sure. And a foul is called on Como Park.
Foul is called on the Cougars, number 13. Bentley back in for Madison East, as well as KK Asberry, number 24 for the Cougars.
21-16. With 10:55 to go. Alana Harvey-Williams. Drive is no good, and that was a case of too many chefs.
Fideli with the putback.
Fideli scores as a result. Jada James spin move. Draws a late foul. Jada James led in rebounds last year, had a bunch of double-doubles. Has yet to find that form this season. And I was surprised that she's only averaging 4.5 rebounds a game. Usually she's good for 10.
When you have guards who are as eager to get rebounds as you are, sometimes that makes it more difficult, especially when you have guards who play a tweener position because they are so small. They have a group full of girls who stay active on the rebounds.
James also plays volleyball and softball, plays on a slow pitch women's league, and usually gets 3 home runs a game in that league. Split at the line, and the Purgolders, well, they'll cough it up. That's a tough turnover.
A lot of turnovers in the game.
That may not surprise you given how quickly these teams play.
Not at all, but you will see Como come out with a more control in the second half is what they usually do.
Bit of an irony, but with Alexis Gray Lawson saying that this team struggles in the second half in games. But we have a long way to go. KK Asberry got the steal, and it will stay with Como Park. And that is what keeps them in the game so often. That press, they'll take chances. It can mean a lot of fouls, but they like to wear you out with their speed.
They do, and with their physicality.
Imagine if you had to play against them in your high school days.
Right?
Porter to James. Jada really struggling to find her shot. And Como having trouble finishing down low. Madison East can make this a one-possession game. And then they turn it over. KK Asberry scores in transition. So 13 is Jashana Baker. And Asberry almost gets another steal. Nevaeh Boston going in.
For Madison East and Kira Gottschalk.
No JV team for Madison East, so they got here about 40 minutes before tip-off.
Had us all wondering if they were actually going to come. Oh, and Ronnie Porter literally just ripped the ball right out of her hands.
Porter with the pick and basket.
Blinking, you'll miss her. She's up to 8, and Como Park rebuilds their lead to 8. They have a chance to extend it. KK Asberry wide open as Zoe Meyer hit the deck. And the Cougars with a quick 6. They now have a 10-point lead, 28-18.
And that's what they'll do to you. Because of their defense, they'll go on mini runs and they'll have points of the game where they may die off, but then it always comes back to the defense. That's why their offense is so effective.
Asberry with 11 points or more in the first 6 games of the season. Asberry also plays softball. Other than that, she likes to hoop.
I mean,
Sounds like someone I know.
Exactly. I mean, when you have talent like that, she's a very dedicated athlete to her craft of basketball.
Well, and she had a big performance a couple of years ago as an 8th grader when the Cougars hosted Stillwater. Started at Highland Park and then came over to Como Park. Cougars, the one thing you could say is missing from their resume is that quality win. The wins they picked up, Edison 85-15. That will tell you how that game went. Armstrong, they beat them 72-53. Kennedy 80-40, and Tartan 72-33. Another steal, and Ronnie Porter with the finish. Porter up to 10, and Jashana Baker racking up some steals and dimes. And it's an 8-0 run for the Cougars. However, both teams out of fouls to give, so free throws coming up. This is Kalina Bentley. But the one thing missing from the Cougars' resume is that statement win. They had a chance to pick one up against St. Louis Park and came up just a bit short. Wayzata, they were in that one, at least for the first half.
They were in it for a while, and then just the depth and size of Wayzata and unable to make shots throughout the whole game kind of got to Como and the reason why they lost.
And St. Michael Albertville won handily in the Pat Patterson tip-off event.
But what I can say about them is they aren't afraid to take on a bigger school or anything like that. They want to play those games.
Well, and a few teams, Minnehaha Academy, another non-conference opponent that will be a big test. Minnehaha, a strong foe in 2A. Cretin-Durham Hall building their ranks up a bit.
Foul called on
Maybe not as strong as a year ago.
42 Hicks at the line for Madison East.
And 1-1 here for Nasia Hicks. And with 8:05 left, we could be here a while.
We could. There's already been so many free throws called, but again, when you play that fast and that aggressive, there's always bound to be both teams in the double bonus.
And that could help Madison East stay in the game. Nasia Hicks up to 5 points, and Madison East 8 of 10 at the line.
Making it count, and that's a lot of times what could be Como's Achilles heel is because of their fouls and how aggressive they play. If teams can efficiently make their free throws, they will stay in the game longer than they should have to.
Nevaeh Boston scoring through traffic on the last possession for the Purgolders, and Como Park comes up empty on this possession, so Madison East withstanding those bumps. Zoe Meyer left alone down low, but she couldn't finish. And a little bit of hesitation. Ooh, that could have been a push-off, perhaps. It was Alana Harvey-Williams gave a little bit of an arm.
I feel like we've been seeing that the whole game. They've called it at least once, but because of the Cougars' suffocating defense, it's been the notion to just push off to create space for themselves.
Jump ball possession stays with East.
Madison East with the possession arrow.
Returns for Como.
Jada James on the run, nothing doing. Jada really having a hard time scoring. She has yet to make a field goal, and she's had a seemingly endless amount of chances down low.
She has, and sometimes when you don't see those bunnies going, it can affect you mentally. So I'm assuming she'll get a pep talk, and then she'll come back in ready. Those are normal shots that she typically makes. Oh, and there Porter goes.
All 5 feet 2 inches. Nevaeh Boston scoring.
And
Again, go ahead.
And that's the gamble sometimes that Como takes when they press throughout the whole game.
3 no good for Walker. Como got to be careful here. They are in the penalty. Ronnie Porter may have gotten hit in the face, lost her balance. Grimacing a little bit on the far corner, and more free throws coming for Madison East. Still 1-1. Alana Harvey-Williams will try to inch a little bit closer with 6:17 to go. Nothing doing. Block, count it. That was a tough call. I'd say that's one of the toughest as an official because it looked like Kalina Bentley had herself set in time. Holton got out of the way or deked her movement just in time to draw the blocking foul instead of a charge.
Those are one of the calls where you want your players to take charges and to attempt it, but it's where refs just, it's what they think they see, and so it can be a difficult call and really a call that could alter the pace and change of the game.
It looked like Bentley was set up outside the restricted zone. That will stay with Madison East. Again, tough to tell, though, from up here.
Right.
But Como Park, they'll take it.
Right, and that's why I let refs ref, and we do what we do.
All right. I mean, I'm not afraid to speak my mind, but...
Oh, definitely not at all, but they have the hard job of
yes,
actually making those calls.
Yeah, you'll never hear me calling for their removal or dismissal or their heads. You know, it is a tough job, and making split-second judgment calls is a skill. Double bonus now for Madison East. So Alana Harvey-Williams will get more free throws here. With 5:55 to go, again, this can help Madison East hang around if they can knock them down. Two schools with some recent history. Andrea Adams now at Texas Tech. The Red Raiders, I think, won the first 10 games of the season. Michaela Van Epp playing for Hutchinson, a D2 school.
A lot of current talent has came out, and a lot of talent is going to come out of this current varsity team here at Como Park.
And the change was put in place when Andre decided to play here because John Robinson, Alexis Gray Lawson's predecessor, was a family friend of the Adams family. But when John stepped down, that's Jalen Smith scoring. Alexis Gray Lawson took over. And that's when Como Park really became a contender. And we're going to have free throws for Como Park. You know, the Cougars didn't have a whole lot of history. It was Central winning the conference every year. Alexis Gray Lawson comes in. Since then, Como Park has won the conference every year, and she's done a great job getting this team to play fast, play hard, and that's why they had that great season when they made their first state tournament appearance ever in 2016 with Andrea Adams, and why a lot of folks think they could get back there this year.
And if not this year, they return all their primary people for the next 2 years.
Right.
So they definitely will be a team to be on the radar for the next years to come.
And Simley, for example, is senior heavy class. St. Croix Lutheran, another team with a young core that could make a run in 3A.
Foul called on number 13, Baker. Free throws at the other end for Madison East.
More free throws. And again, this is how Madison East is staying within close enough distances by getting to the free throw line.
Well, trying to stay in the game, but Harvey Williams, she has struggled at the charity stripe. And it goes back to reps, making sure your free throw stroke is in form. It's not the sexiest thing out there. It isn't. You know, it doesn't make the highlight reel, but you never know when you'll need those points.
Exactly.
That's why I always stress it. You know, if nothing else, it removes you as a liability, so if you have to play foul and chase, all right, well, that's the one person we don't want to foul.
Right.
You know, Elena Deladon comes to mind. 95% free throw shooter, I believe, in her career.
And those are usually the players that they know they have to get the ball in those cases.
Ronnie Porter missing the front end. I wonder where her nickname Peanut came from.
Maybe correlated to her height. Maybe. Could be.
I mean, she does stand at 5'2". I didn't hear what Lonnie Anderson said.
I think it may have been a warning against Como Park for talking to each other. I'm not 100% though.
Ronnie Porter splitting at the line. And even with 10 fouls, Como Park not going away from their defensive identity, but a carrying call on Walker, and you saw it. It had that little hesitation.
Boston and Hilliard back in for Madison East.
And that is one thing. They might have so many X amount of turnovers in the game, but I guarantee you they have the same amount of steals or turnovers forced that they have made the other team create.
And they just forced another one, getting Madison East on a backcourt violation. Did Shania Nichols say something?
I've only seen her cheering the whole entire game, so, and being in between two coaches, I doubt she said anything disrespectful to anybody out on the floor.
Cougars up 39-28. Here's Baker looking to go reverse. Ronnie Porter for three.
Yeah,
hit.
She definitely got fouled on that. And I love when players do that. They look at the refs or the bench when you know you clearly fouled. And you see the Madison East coaches on the side saying, you did, you fouled her. So I always find that quite amusing.
3 free throws for Ronnie Porter. Leading the team in scoring at 16.3 a game. 3.3 assists, 2.6 steals. And this is just a one-off here, but Alexis Gray Lawson is hoping to start her own holiday invitational next year.
That would be exciting, especially if it, you know, there's so many opportunities for teams to play, especially against competition they don't normally get to play against, which is always exciting.
Well, she's looking to pry away some teams from the Park Center holiday invite. We'll see what happens, but you know, she's in talks. Nothing set in stone yet, so we'll leave it at that. But if it comes to fruition, there would be a lot of outstate talent making their way here. 3 is off the mark for Jalen Smith, but she chases down her own miss. Walker, no good. Kick out, Porter fires, and ooh, she'll send a thank you card to the rim.
And I love how aggressive Ronnie is the whole entire game. Like, she is a prime example of it's not about the size of the fight, it's the fight within the person, and she definitely brings it every game.
Foul on Dmytruk. More free throws coming for Madison East, but they've had some trouble putting them in, and Como Park slowly extending their lead, 43-30.
Bentley at the line for Madison East, shooting 2.
Bentley with 5 points.
Number 32, Linda Mitchell in for Como Park.
Bentley makes both. 43-32. Baker through the hole, off the rim. Another offensive rebound. Ronnie Porter's been getting a lot of second chance opportunities. The Purgolders can't complete the transition play, and that will be Como Park ball.
A lot of missed bunnies in this game by both teams.
Yeah, this will not be a game tape you would use to demonstrate efficiency.
At all.
And it's crazy because Como Park has 43 points. A few more of those layups convert. They could easily have 50 by now.
Exactly. Oh.
Jalen Smith got bailed out there. Linda Mitchell had nowhere to go, and Madison East, they're not out of this. Here comes the pressure.
But you will see Como applying that pressure the whole entire game. And they are trained to know once we don't have the ball, we turn around and find the closest body.
Another chance for a statement win for the Cougars will come January 4th. They will go down to Rochester to play Stewartville, one of the top teams in 2A. Free throws coming for Walker, and double bonus now for the Cougars. Another reason why getting that statement win could be crucial. In Section 3-3A, they don't play a neutral site. The highest remaining seed hosts all the way through. So whoever gets the 1 seed,
they have home court advantage.
They have home court throughout. Much like NBA, NFL, where the road through state, the road to state runs through you.
Asberry returning for Como.
Simley and St. Croix Lutheran. We'll see how they do. Simley, they've been up and down a little bit. Walker makes both free throws. (45-32).
And if both teams made their layups and their free throws, it may be indicative of a different score because Madison East has gone to the free throw line so many times. But again, they're still right there. They're not letting Como extend the lead too much at this point.
Well, they're about even as far as the free throw stats go. Madison East 12 of 17, Como Park 11 of 16. That was close. Asberry almost put herself in a backcourt violation. Walker to Mitchell. Fideli read it in time to get the block. Alana Harvey-Williams with the transition play.
And we saw Madison East do that the first few plays of the game of when they see the ball secured, you will see someone going out to get that layup.
Asberry missing the 3. Como Park saves it. Ronnie Porter In trouble, finds Asberry for three. Yes!
Asberry for 3.
That could be a momentum-turning play.
It can. And we'll see what Como Park do. And there they go with another steal.
Asberry to Porter, up and in.
Assisted by Asberry.
And the Cougars with 50 in the first half. We might break a few scoring records at this rate. And they could get more. Porter through the hole. She'll shoot 2. Ronnie Porter with 17 points. 50 first half points for the Cougars. They put up 57 in the loss to Wayzata, 54 to St. Michael Albertville. So I guess if you're Como Park, the key to success is run up the scoreboard, yes.
Score 50 in the first half.
And we talk about how high it could be if they finish more of their layups. I mean, we're talking about a first world problem here. They're getting a lot of opportunities with that defensive pressure of theirs.
But that also comes with growing pains when you have such a young team. Is just those little things you tend to have to work on.
51-36. Kalina Bentley couldn't break through the wall. Jalen Smith, no good. And there's another example, a missed layup.
Another missed layup just by the other team.
And KK Asberry with a chance to shoot too. It's like we're saying, how high could the score be if the layups are going in? But I guess you can't be 100%.
Right.
You'd like to be, but the way these two teams run.
Asberry with 2 shots.
I know, I'm getting tired just watching this.
Right,
I don't think
back
you
and
ever
forth.
went this fast at Benilde St. Margaret's or Osseo.
No.
What about FAMU? Did you ever play?
We always ran. That was our thing.
I suppose you only had 30 seconds, so you can't just
Pace and walk
Right,
up
you can't
the
just-
floor.
Netflix and chill, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Okay, that was a bad analogy. This is why I'm a broadcaster, not a comedian. But you can't just lay back, chill out. It's as we were saying earlier, these two don't need a shot clock.
At all.
And I imagine Como Park, when they played at that Pat Patterson invite,
It did not affect them at all.
I was going to say, it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't have a possession go down to 10 on the clock.
Probably not as fast as they play.
Asberry splitting at the line. Cougars 13 of 20. Madison East this time finishes in transition. That's Boston.
By 33 Boston.
All right, does Como hope for the final shot here, or will they run? That's Jalen Smith who drains the 3.
3 for Smith.
Madison East with time. They've got 5 seconds. Harvey Williams. Oh, they had it. She had her
And her
opening.
teammate was just not ready.
Deja Banks was right there. 55-38 the score at the half. That's not a misprint. 55 points. That is a whole lot of scoring.
And which is seen by Como throughout their wins that they've had this season. They've been in the high 70s, 80s in those wins. And so they get up a lot of shots and they score high amounts almost every game. And even when they lose, they're still in the high 50s, low 60s. So
Well, we'll see just how high this team can go. It doesn't look like mercy rule will be an issue here. 55-38 the score. This is high school girls basketball.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves,
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
game winners,
From James. She's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot. It goes in.
and everything in between.
Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
Mike Peden and Olivia Antilla with you. 55-38, the halftime score in favor of Como Park. And as we've said multiple times, it could be even more if a few more layups went in, but 55 is still a pretty impressive number.
It is, and that's what we typically see from a team like Como, and we will see how they come out in the second half. Those first few minutes are going to be super important for them on whether they make the lead bigger or if they allow Madison East to come back, because I doubt that this team is going to just roll over and die against Como.
For comparison's sake, the Cougars managed 54 points against St. Michael Albertville. Ronnie Porter with 18 points, KK Asberry with 11 to lead the Cougars. Madison East, Nevaeh Boston has 8. Nasia Hicks and Kalina Bentley both have 7. That pressure for Como Park producing a lot of opportunities for transition play.
There is, and that's how a lot of Como's gotten their points. They've been wide open, easy layups because they've been playing the gaps, reading the steal, and then finding the open person ahead for the easy lay-in.
So the second half is underway.
And this is not something you see from Como a lot. They are in a zone, and Ronnie Porter starts the half with a steal and 2 points.
You think Lex was saving that?
She might have, because within their first few games, they rarely ever play a zone defense because their man is so suffocating. But from what I see, their zone is just as suffocating as their man. And another steal.
Back-to-back steals to start the second half for the Cougars, and Asberry deflected. It will stay with Como Park. Jada James finally gets a field goal off the inbound.
And what a perfect way to get started, the beginning of the second half, and with the and one.
Number 33, Boston.
And she's got a lot of strength. Again, she averages 3 home runs a game in a slow-pitch softball league. Makes you wonder how she would do in a high school game with all that power. Jada James missing the three-point play, but Cougars up by 19. Asberry. What a move!
That was a great finish by KK.
That is a gutsy play. A layup in traffic. Asberry up to 13. Bentley, mid-range J, does not drop. The rebound is won by 33, but we'll have a jump ball. So Boston got the layup, but Como Park with the arrow. And Natalia Hiller going in. This is a stark difference between the last time Madison East came up here. Now, granted, that was 3 years ago. Como Park had graduated Andrea Adams, and Aaron Howard was still playing for the Purgolders.
Good pass.
I feel Madison East has struggled a little more to finish layups. Como Park, they've had some possessions come up empty as well, but overall they're doing a better job executing in transition.
They definitely are. I feel like as the guards of Madison East are penetrating, the other players are not anticipating the dump-off passes, how we saw just there, and then to end the first half. But they're going to keep trucking, but it's up to 20 points.
Ronnie Porter rolls in the three.
And that's another example of what I was just talking about.
Now Como Park leaks out for another layup. And the Cougars running away here in the second half, 66-42. Kalina Bentley, analytics would tell you not to take that shot, but the 18-footer goes in, so
Right.
you'll take any shot that does drop in. Asberry, another runner.
And she's just so good off the dribble. She's good at creating, not only for herself, but for her teammates. And we've seen that in the last few plays of just how easily she can get to the basket and get her shot off.
And an unforced error on the Purgolders. Now, I don't know a whole lot about Wisconsin schools, but I find it interesting that several of them have nicknames based on their school colors. La Crosse Aquinas, they call themselves the Blue Golds. Madison East, the Purgolders, because of purple and gold.
That's very interesting.
Maple Grove has the Crimson, so that's not entirely unusual here. Jada James will shoot 2 more.
Foul on number 21.
As you were saying earlier, Jada, while it might seem like a shock that she's not getting points and rebounds like she did a year ago, she has a lot of options for the Cougars, and even Ronnie Porter and KK Asberry aren't afraid to get in there.
At all, and they have guards who come off the bench and want to rebound and are eager, so they just have a team that they are aggressive towards getting the rebounds and controlling the ball.
Jada James hoping to get involved in student council and yearbook this year. That's a foul on Como Park. He'll go against Dmytruk. James up to 4 points, and this has been a game where you haven't needed a ton of points or boards from James. Deep 3, no good. Traveling violation on Madison East, and once again, they had an opportunity right there, and Hillard just couldn't compose herself in time. James to Porter. Lost her balance, finds Asberry. You can put that on the highlight reel.
Right, that was a good play and a good opportunity to not give up as she was falling, but to find her open teammate.
Timeout Madison East, and the Como Park Cougars
Timeout is taken by Madison
just
East.
all over Madison East, and really this game comes down to finishing. We were going on about how Como Park missed out on a few plays down low, but in the second half, they are rolling.
They are, and they extended that lead to basically a 30-point within the first few minutes of the game. And so it'd be nice to see them finish the half with the same energy they started it with.
As we were saying in the open, this team has a hard time finishing in the second half. I don't think that'll be the case this time. So non-conference games of note for Como Park. We mentioned Stewartville, January 4th. At the Rochester Hoops Challenge down in the Mayo Civic Center. Cretin-Durham Hall and Minnehaha Academy. They'll also play South St. Paul. That's a section game. And then conference-wise, they should run the table. They haven't had a challenge in conference. Nasia Hicks with the corner 3. Como Park hasn't had a challenge in conference for the last 4 years. Jada James is stripped. A chance for Madison East to pick up a little momentum. Foul on Harvey Williams, and they will give her the shooting motion. So this is what Madison East is looking for. Coming out of a timeout, get a couple plays to go your way.
And then also be able to score the ball while the clock is stopped.
Well, they have a long way to go if they want to work their way back from 24 down. Porter to Smith. That 3 way off. Another jump. Madison East with the arrow that time. That was Dmytruk trying to rip it away from Kyla McCullers. Dmytruk, she's a sophomore, but classed up.
She is. She just turned 15.
Yeah, so she skipped a year.
She did. And a very smart student. She currently has a 4.09 GPA.
And her father, a classic car enthusiast.
Yes.
Have you seen his collection?
I've seen pictures. And there Como goes with another steal.
Well, speaking of collections, Como Park collecting a ton of highlights, both offensively and defensively. Michaela Holton's shot doesn't go in. Foul on Como Park.
Foul called on James, number 42.
And I have a feeling the second half is going to turn into a free throw-a-thon like the first half was.
Well, we'll see. If Como Park can hold on to this lead, they might lay off a bit because you don't want to put up 100. Ooh, a lot of contact. Nothing called there. Porter. Working off the screen. Smith. 3 is off the mark. And the rebound.
And then they get it right back.
And that has been the story all game. High-low. Broken up. And last touch by the Cougars. So Kalina Bentley getting a stop defensively. Well, this is the third team this season I've covered out of state. And even though Madison East may not be along the ranks of La Crosse Aquinas in Wisconsin, well, they get after it on the boards, and free throws coming for Nevaeh Boston. It is fun to get a glimpse of some of the talent that lies outside of Minnesota. As you know, this state produces a lot of Division I athletes, you being among them, but La Crosse Aquinas, back-to-back champions in Division IV. And Dowling Catholic with Caitlin Clark. You'll see her at Iowa next year. Teammate of Paige Becker's on the Junior USA circuit.
It's always exciting to see different talent and to be able to play the different talent that is from out of state.
And as I understand it, the high school league has restrictions regarding travel for Minnesota teams. So this is one way to get around that, to invite some top teams around the country to play here. Foul before the 5-second call, and
Foul on
Kyla McCullers
21
with an exasperated look. But it's not often that these teams, I think most aren't able to go outside of the Midwestern area.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, the Dakotas, Iowa. So it's fun to see Minnesota teams invite the out-of-state teams here.
Right.
Three ball. Asberry can't knock it down from the corner. The Purgolders tried to penetrate inside, and free throws coming for Mary Fideli.
Foul called on number 30, Walker. Fideli going to the line.
Walker to shoot, or the foul is on Walker. Fideli to shoot 2. Madison East, as we said, they will finish their Twin Cities swing tomorrow with St. Paul Central. And then they go back to the Badger State. Open the season with 3 straight losses.
Good pass.
Demaya Riley with her first field goal. Harvey Williams, 3 is no good. And Kalina Bentley left that one short, but it was deflected.
They are definitely more aggressive. Madison East is more aggressive on the boards this half than we've seen, and not just letting Como run the table in the respect of rebounding.
There's another example. Harvey Williams swipes away the pass. 3 on the way. Does not drop for Bentley. Ronnie Porter didn't have the numbers there. Draws the foul and drains the runner.
Foul is called on 42, Harvey Williams. Basket by Porter is good at the line for the and one.
Porter's been struggling at the free throw line, still been effective in the scoring realm, but definitely has not been as successful as I know she wished she was from the free throw line this afternoon.
That's been one of the sore spots for the Cougars over the years. Andrea Adams and Michaela Van Nett were solid at the stripe. Some of the others, and you get into that, especially in the lower levels, not always on point.
Push called on Couples number 13, Baker.
Foul on Baker, and 10-12 to go. Como Park up comfortably here, 76-51.
East, Boston, and Hicks returning.
Kalina Bentley drives and scores. That puts her up to 13. Here's Walker.
Good pass.
The dish to Holton, no good. Riley with the recovery.
But still, Como Park is down there anticipating the miss and getting that easy board for 2 points.
Bentley, long 2, can't bank it in. And that will be Cougars ball. 78-53. Bentley anticipates, but ran out of real estate there. Now Walker for 3. Bullseye.
Walker for 3.
81-53.
Oh.
Well, that didn't go as planned.
And Como's still off to the races. Good move.
Well, when that style of play is paying big dividends, he'll take it. We'll see if Como Park lays back here as time winds down.
I guarantee you they won't. Just
well, because they're getting closer to 100.
They are, but defensively, we'll see them still be as aggressive defensively and look to get more ball movement, not the 1-2 easy layup. They'll look to get people who haven't been involved as much get involved, and as we see, Porter's going to the bench.
Well, conference-wise, because Como's been so dominant, and you get this sometimes in Minneapolis as well, as Walker splits at the line. You get teams that are reluctant to put up 100 unless they have to.
And another steal.
You don't want to pour it on, per se.
A 3-on-1. Let's see if they...
Well, free throws coming for Nevaeh Boston, number 33.
Foul on number 20, James. Number 33 by Boston at the line for Madison East, shooting 2.
Nevaeh Boston with 9 points. Now with 10, but it's been all Como Park from about the midway point of the first half. And when you put up 55 in the first frame, again, due to that stingy defense of theirs, that is what makes them so tough. As Walker fires another 3, no good. As you told me the last time we worked together, Como Park, they bring it every game. Doesn't matter if they're outsized.
Never. That is never a problem for them, just because of how they're taught to play by the coaching staff. Is size doesn't matter. We are going to bring the fight to them.
Foul called on number 33, Boston, Kayla James, at the line for Como.
Well, here's another James, Kayla. So, how about that? We could have a few years of the James sisters. I believe they're related.
They are.
They are.
For Madison East, number 12, Alston, and number 2, Meyer.
Well, that's why I'm glad you're here. To confirm these things, to keep me from making a fool out of myself. 8:17 to go in the second half. Both teams in the bonus the rest of the way.
Yep, there was a lane violation.
And we'll have a do-over.
And this is probably one of the best things as an athlete you can get. You missed the free throw, but luckily enough, there was a lane violation, so now you have an opportunity to get that point back.
And probably frustrating when it goes the other way.
Exactly.
You make the free throw, but one of your teammates
Violates, exactly.
Right. So Kayla James makes both, and Boston, or I should say Bentley, had nowhere to go. Purgolders able to keep it in bounds. It's Como Park ball, and maybe for Holton, it was a good thing it went out of bounds.
Because otherwise it would have been
Right.
a
She would have turned it over.
Exactly.
They can't falter for the hustle, though. And a lot of it here for Como Park. And they're doing all this without Shania Nichols. Again, out for the season with an ACL tear. Had surgery in the spring, as you said, hoping to bring her back in time for postseason play. But some of the reserves are starting to make their way on the floor. Zoe Meyer, I should say, and more free throws coming.
Foul called on 42, Harvey Williams.
And here's Janaea Anderson.
Number 0, Janaea Anderson.
So 1-1 here for Michaela Holton. And do you just work with Dmytruk, or do you work with any other Como players?
As well as Shakyla Walker, who just came out of the game, number 30.
Walker with 10 points. So what is it about folks like Dmytruk and Walker that have impressed you to the point where you're following them all throughout the high school season?
Yeah, I love to watch my kids play, but it's just the hard work ethic. You have kids who, they can both score the ball, but they're coachable. They're willing to accept any role you give them, but also by adding offense while playing defense. And so that's why they're just good players to have on any roster, whether it's mine or someone else's.
Traveling violation on Como Park, and what looks to be a runaway win. And yeah, I've seen some of your tweets. You follow a lot of athletes, whether or not they're yours. You're watching tape. I mean, you treat the game as if you're coaching.
Yes, I'm all about, helping any players, especially ones that want to play on the collegiate level, because there's so many schools, whether they want to play D1, D2, D3, NAI, JUCO. There's so many opportunities for everyone to have the possibility to play after high school.
Judges are Bentley and McCullers.
So based on who's out on the floor, I would presume Porter and Asberry are done for the day.
Yep.
And if that's the case, Porter will finish with 25 points, Asberry with 18. Another long two. Nice little reverse in transition for Michaela Holton. Well, and speaking of changes, you saw this as you went in. Como Park getting a renovation. So
Yes.
the building under construction, and it will give them a much sleeker lobby, if you will.
I feel like a lot of high schools are doing that. I know Brooklyn Center just updated their entryway, and so
Irondale is going through a refit. I like the new bathroom stalls. So you're already seeing some of the pieces fall into place. And Alexis Gray-Lawson said it creates a little bit of havoc when you're trying to coordinate games, but she said the finished product will make the school feel a lot nicer to be in. Johnson went through that as well.
Which is nice for the students and the staff who have been there and are currently going there. It gives you some place to be proud of and like attending school every day.
Were you one of those students? Did you like going to school?
I mean, high school was fine. It was fun because you had classes with all your friends.
Kyla McCullers gets on the board. Como Park will throw that away into the hands of number 12, who scores. That's Aliana Alston. We're not at the mercy rule threshold, in case you're wondering. Michaela Holton, another bucket. That makes 4 players in double figures for the Cougars. Traveling violation, 4:40 to go. So for this Como Park team, we saw just what they can do with that 55-point first half. They'll have a few more big tests coming up. Stewartville and Minnehaha Academy figure to be the toughest in the non-conference slate. And they'll likely host the Twin Cities game against Minneapolis South. Those two have run the tables in their respective conferences. There's Alston with another strip, and she will take it all the way. How far do you think Como Park can go? They haven't reached the state tournament since 2016, which was their first appearance. Haven't been to a section final since that time.
I think if they keep building off of what they're doing, this is the year that they will get to state.
Harvey Williams with the steal and score for the Purgolders. And it's tough to tell because not every 3A school is in the Metro. Linda Mitchell rebounded the putback. Becker, we know they're a tough team, although they're not the surprise they were a year ago. There's a spin move by Bentley. De La Salle got through some rough terrain at the start of the season. They had that incident with Dowling Catholic, and they had to put out some fires. Deshauna Baker scores. Holy Angels brought back just about everybody. So there's going to be a lot of tough teams to get through in Section 3. And Simley, Simley is a little unpredictable. That will count for Kyla McCullers. But even in the section, St. Croix Lutheran, if they get their shooters on a hot streak, they could be in for some surprises. And Simley, you never know what to expect, but if they're on, they can do some damage as well.
Right.
But what do you think? Como Park, can they make another splash?
I think they will, just based off of their depth and how many people they can have that add points to the game. As you said, they've had 4 people score in double figures just this game. They have good rebounders, and they have a really suffocating defense that it's just hard to score against. And so I think they will keep growing from this point and then be successful in getting to state this year.
Number 13, Baker. That will send Bentley to the line.
This is the first time this season Como Park has scored above 90. They had a couple of games in the 80s.
And there's still 3 minutes left.
And it's a shame that they weren't able to get some schools to follow through on some commitments, because I'm sure Becker would love another chance at a Metro team.
Right.
Holy Angels decided to discontinue the series they had with Como Park. Those two, whenever they met, produced a ton of highlights, including last year's overtime thriller won by Holy Angels. Jump ball, Madison East with the arrow.
Jump ball is called. Possession remains with East. Mitchell back in the game.
This is the first time I've been able to see them play, and the Wayzata game, Alexis said they were in it. I just felt we fizzled in the second half. St. Louis Park, I'm sure they would love to get that one back. So they're right there. And the fact that you were able to play well with Wayzata and St. Louis Park, some of the 4A teams.
It says a lot about the program that they have, and they're still growing off of, considering how young they are.
Those are the performances that can inspire confidence as the season moves along, because conference play, they're not going to get much of a challenge. And Olivia's shaking her head. And it's not a knock on Como. It's
the reality.
Just the nature of the beast.
Yes.
And you get that a lot in conference play. It's kind of why I skew toward non-conference matchups, because I feel you can get some more quality opponents that way. Although I say that, and then St. Michael, Albertville, and Buffalo join the Lake Conference, so STMA gets to play Hopkins and Eden Prairie and Wayzata twice. And how about Champlain Park? Speaking of Eden Prairie.
Yes, beating EP today by 2 points.
Over at the Park Center Holiday Invite, Eden Prairie, they may be the one team that has laid a few clunkers.
Definitely, they've also had some nice wins, but definitely games that the mass would assume they would win, they have fallen short in those games.
You know, and I've talked to some of the other coaches, and they felt Eden Prairie, a school that should be doing more with what they have. But as we've said many times before, there are no guarantees. Out in Section 2, Chaska, Minnetonka, they're good teams. Champlain Park, that was a surprise. As you told me, that victory came without Michaela Counts.
And it's a lot of times teams get
Maybe that was the problem. I'm kidding. No, I'm kidding, Michaela. Go ahead.
A lot of times teams get excited to play the teams, especially when you have that underdog mentality where, we are already supposed to lose this game, so let's just go out and play our game. And so sometimes it's easier being the quote-unquote underdog than it is to be the one that's assumed to win.
Right, you're thinking, well, no one thinks we're going to win this one anyway, so let's go out and do it.
Exactly.
And that could be a statement win for Champlain Park, a win that could help get them on track. I saw them last week, and they looked a little flat against Totino Grace, but getting a big win like that against Eden Prairie
and then
without one of your top players.
Right, and then they have a good opportunity tomorrow against Minnetonka to get another quality 4A win.
And Minnetonka, we saw them last week. They're building on that young core. Another team with a lot of youth. No seniors on that Skippers group. (96-66). I could see Como going for one more, and that would be enough. Baker tries to give it to them. By far the highest scoring game of the season for the Cougars. And that will not go on the Janiyah Anderson highlight tape. But that's okay. It's late in the game. Have a little fun.
Right.
Como Park's defense came to play. And even though we said they could have made a few more layups, even though they scored 55 in the first half, when their pressure results in transition plays, good things can happen. And I'm excited to see what this Como Park team does against Cretin-Durham Hall, another team loaded with speedsters. And Minnehaha Academy, I could see a lot of three-pointers in that one.
Yep.
With Tana Gallo and Mia Curtis leading the state in three-point field goals. And for Como Park, they don't have Nichols, but they've got some other sharpshooters. I expect a lot of bombs to fire away when they meet January 23rd.
That should be a very exciting game.
Well, I hope you can join us for that one. I know if not sooner, we'll see you at the Hall of Fame Classic for a couple of games.
Yes.
One more. Well, that won't go in for Anderson, but that's okay. Como Park, 96-66 is the final. Como Park ran away in the second half and did not look back.
At all.
Special thanks to Madison East.
An impressive performance by the Cougars, and Olivia, I don't regret making the trip out here over the holiday break.
Nope, they're a fun team to watch. They get after it on both ends, and even with a 30-point win, you're still engaged in the game when you have players like Porter and Asberry that make it so entertaining to watch.
Porter with 25 points, Asberry with 18 to lead the Cougars. Kalina Bentley leads the Purgolders with 15. We'll try to get a word with Porter and Asberry. This is high school girls basketball.
Twin Cities Sports Broadcasting, and a whole lot more. That's what you get from TSB Television. We provide long-lasting digital coverage of your favorite athletes from the preps to the pros. Dazzling moves.
Holloman, good if it goes. Yes!
Game winners.
From James. She's in trouble. Finds James. Toss shot! It goes in!
And everything in between.
Before we let you go, do you want to say hi to anybody?
Oh, I don't know. That put me on the spot there.
If you want to connect with our audience, visit us at patreon.com/TSB Television or sponsor our coverage through PayPal and Cash App. Thank you for watching.
And joining me are KK Asberry and Ronnie Porter, two of the motors. Let's try that again. Joining me are KK Asberry and Ronnie Porter, two of the cogs that makes this Como Park motor run, and you definitely were running today. Season high, 96 points, 55 in the first half. How did you use your speed to outrun Madison East?
Well, it starts with defense, so we knew once we got steals, that would get us going, get us in our flow offensively, and allowed us to get a lot of quick baskets.
Once we start off with a lot of energy, that just affects our whole game, and it just keeps us going. And if we keep each other motivated, then our game just goes by way more smoothly.
You've been on the cusp of beating some 4A teams. You played well with Wayzata, played well with St. Louis Park. Against Madison East, maybe you were too young to remember this. The last time they came here, it was the Purgolders getting the victory. What does it mean to get a win over a Wisconsin team?
Well, every win is important. Every win counts, so I'm glad we were able to come out with the dub. Yeah, like KK said, every win is good to us. It doesn't matter what team.
Ronnie, your transition game was nearly flawless, and you were dropping some dimes, so you may be 5'2", but you didn't play like it today. How do you compensate for lack of height when you go out there on the floor?
Speed and using my IQ.
And what about you, KK?
Well, I'll just say heart and reading the defense.
And not only that, you two have had several years to play together. I think this is both your third year on varsity. So how do you think the chemistry with this group of sophomores and some younger faces behind you, how is that manifesting this season?
Well, I mean, I played with some players since the 4th grade, since the beginning of basketball. So we're just like a family at this point. And, yeah, that definitely helps out on the court because we know how we play. We know what to expect of one another, and we hold each other to a high standard.
Yeah, like she said, we play with each other for, I think, 7 years, starting out.
Well, it certainly showed. And to get 96... And Olivia and I were talking, you could have had more if a few layups went in. But I guess that gives you something to strive for, right?
Right, yeah.
But, I mean...
I'm just saying, you wouldn't want to have your best game in December.
Yeah.
So heading into the calendar year, what do you hope to accomplish? I figure a St. Paul City Conference title is likely, but what else would you like to knock off that goal list?
Win. I mean, of course, win state. That's our goal. That's always been our goal, so that's what we out here for.
No more losses, and our conference isn't really like 4A, our conference is. We just need to stop playing down to our competition and play our game.
Well, I'd certainly say you played up to the competition today. That was Madison East, no matter what the record was. You want to say hi to anybody?
Hi to my family.
To my family and coaches and my team.
All right, congratulations on the win. Enjoy the rest of your holiday break, and we'll see you next year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
KK Asberry and Ronnie Porter. That wraps up our coverage here from Como Park in our final game of the calendar year. You won't see us again until 2020. So until next year, I'm Mike Peden. Thanks for watching.